Hi, welcome back to Hitting the Field. Today, we are holding our Black History Month special, and I am very, very excited. I'm your host, Ezrah Hine, and today, we're going to not only celebrate Black culture, but we will also relive some memories of recent and the past. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. Segment 1, we will discuss our favorite players growing up, and then in Segment 2, we're going to talk about each of our most impactful Black athletes of the past year. And then in Segment 3, I'm going to bring on some very special guests to discuss the most influential moments of the past couple of years. Stick around, because the Hitting the Field Black History Month special begins right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back. To my left, I have my bets companion and also one guy that I love arguing basketball with, Mr. Giovanni St. Cyrin. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to talk in this segment today.
1,000%. I'm very excited too. And then to my right, I have a very versatile guest. We have him on every show. You've seen him everywhere, Mr. Jeremy Beland. How we doing today?
I'm good, man. How about you?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. So today, we're going to be talking about our favorite athletes growing up. And it's very funny because we all had a theme. We
did.
03.
It is the 03 NBA draft. And it's very funny that's our theme because we're all very big on basketball. So, Giovanni, I'm going to have you start with probably the worst of the three.
The worst.
I can agree with this.
It's definitely
I can
yours.
agree with this.
But yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm here to talk about Dwayne Tyrone Wade. He's the embodiment of Miami basketball and just Miami sports overall. There's no way you can grow up in Miami and just not be a fan of D Wade. He's a 3-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP, 8-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 13-time All-Star, and top 3 shooting guard of all time. A lot of people have him 3. I have him number 1. I'm not delusional, trust me.
Okay.
And even, I'm not talking about just career, even after career, he started the Wade Family Foundation, and he uses his platform to help advance racial justice and LGBTQ equality and effective real change. And yeah, he's just top 3 on my list. He's the most influential basketball player for me, so I'm gonna go with D Wade.
It's very funny that you said that because I wanted to actually ask y'all, where do y'all rank D Wade in the all-time shooting guard list?
Number 1.
I think he could be top 3.
All right, how about not delusional?
Best Bulls shooting guard of all time. Number 1.
That's crazy.
Number 1.
That's crazy.
That's wicked.
Anyway,
I would say he's probably he's definitely top 5, I would say.
What?
I would also say top
All right,
five.
I was
five.
playing, but he's top 3. Okay.
Okay, I would say behind Jordan and Kobe, he could be right there.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
I agree.
But I would say
Yeah.
top 5, but others are debatable.
Whew.
Allen Iverson?
Yeah.
No, D Wade.
Wow, that's actually sick.
D
I
Wade.
can't
All
lie.
right, you know what? We'll leave that there. Jeremy,
Uh-huh.
you brought up probably the best of the 3. Probably.
Yes, sir.
Keyword probably.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about him.
So I'm gonna be talking about LeBron Raymond James. If you know this man, you know he is, in my personal opinion, he is the greatest basketball player of all time. We're talking 4 titles, the scoring champion, 4 MVPs, multiple-time All-Star. You really can't go wrong when you're talking about LeBron James. You know, some people would like to hate and say that he's not the GOAT, but that's just simply not true. There's nothing you could say against him that can change my mind.
No, 1,000%. 1,000%.
That's for sure. No, he definitely is someone who I think, he really is my favorite athlete growing up.
Yeah.
I remember watching him and just seeing the greatness in action.
Where did you start watching him at? Did you start watching him on the OG Cavs, Miami Heat, second stint Cavs?
Funny enough, I actually found him playing 2K06 with my brother. It's a crazy story, but from there, that's when I really picked up. Around that time, that's when I started watching basketball with my mom. And so from there, I really started watching him on the OG Cavs.
Okay. And I did have a quick question for y'all. Where do y'all, or at what age do y'all think that LeBron actually became the GOAT?
I don't know the exact age.
Or rough time frame?
2016.
I would say
have to be
2016 is my
2016?
absolute solidified moment.
I'm glad y'all said
he's
that.
close to not being the GOAT, but he's.
Whoa, I don't think
He
it's
could
close.
be the GOAT. I have no argument. I have no problem with people.
I
that say
don't think
he's
it's
the
close at all.
I don't
in
think
my
it's close
opinion.
either.
Okay.
We're talking about easily the greatest ever. I mean, one of them had to retire when.
That's facts.
Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. New discussion. We're gonna move on to my favorite player growing up. He is the reason I'm actually a Knicks fan. If he never got traded to the Knicks, I would have been a Denver Nuggets fan. And we are talking about Carmelo Anthony. We're talking about one of the most elite scorers in NBA history, in my opinion. Like, literally could do it all, had the deadliest pump fake, deadliest jab in the game, one of the best shooters. He's, I think, 11th all-time scoring list, 28,000 points. He averaged 22 points across his career, which is insane if you think about it, because of the tail end of his career. He wasn't getting a lot of rep on, like, Houston, LA, places like that.
OKC.
OKC.
Yeah.
I mean, he did go on a good playoff run with OKC, and he averaged, like, I think 15, but
So even
that's
with
still
the
not
Lakers,
that's not a lot.
That's not Melo standards.
Yeah, no, but he was a third option, but also shot 44%, 35% from three. He's not, like, these stats, because he takes about 40 shots a game, may look a little bit skewed a little bit, but I mean, we're talking about one of the greatest small forwards of all time, in my opinion.
That's what I would take.
Where do y'all rank his scoring ability out of everyone in history?
Top 5.
Top
Easily,
5?
Easily top 5.
I agree, because I agree.
I would say top 10, but I could see a case for a top 5.
So we have guys like, I would say Kobe, I would say Bron, I would say Jordan, I would say KD, and then
I would say Melo, and then T-Mac right after.
I would agree. I think Melo's higher than T-Mac in my opinion. Like, we're talking about.
I would say, are we including like new age players right now as well? Because we have people dropping 70 all the time. Like, this is like, I think, what was it? Past 2018, we've had more like 70-point games in like the past 5 years than like previous
But
before.
if Melo was playing in today's game, he'd have 70 easily.
Oh, 1,000%, dude.
That's fair.
You know how many times? You know how many times he would make someone fall for a pump fake in a game? It's nuts.
That's real.
It's nuts. So that is actually all the time we have for this segment. I wanted to thank you both for coming on. I want to thank you both for being able to talk about your childhood in a way.
Thank you.
We'll see you right back after this commercial break to talk about segment 2.
Why are you here? I don't really understand why I'm here. I got called a delusional fan. I just don't understand why I'm delusional if I think Kirk Cousins had the best mustache in the league.
Well, Jack, buddy, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but I don't think anybody looks cool in handlebars.
But they're back, man. They're back.
They're not. They're not. Sometimes you just got to face the hard truth. It's right there in front of you. All these people, they're calling you delusional, but sometimes you got to worry about, am I projecting? Is it me? And in this
Let me
case,
tell you something, bud. It could never be me. Anything I say is factual and truth, and that's why the Vikings are going 16-1 this year.
Organization, you have to look at your roster and say, I've had Kirk O'Duggins for 6 years. Maybe it's time to move on.
There is no moving on from Kirk Thuggins and Justin Jefferson.
Do you think that maybe this all started just because of a little disappointment?
Nothing has started. This is how I live, and I am not delusional. I'm a prophet.
Back. As you can see, I got some pretty familiar faces, one very much older than the other. To my right, I have my ex-co-host from Bets, one of the funniest men alive, Mr. Philip Powell. How you doing again, man?
I'm doing great. It's glad to be back here. I'm pretty excited to talk about my impactful athlete.
1,000%. I was so excited to get you back in studio, back on air. This is one of the favorite things. And then to my left, I have one of the most up-and-coming on-air talents by far, Mr. Andrew Gray. How are you doing today?
Oh, I appreciate the kind words. I'm doing really well. I'm ready to talk my most impactful black athlete. So.
1,000%. And it seems, since y'all are very ready, we're just going to get right into it. I'm going to start with you, Phil.
All right.
Who is your most impactful black athlete of the year 2023?
Well, this young man, he went to Garden City Community College. Then he went to Oklahoma State, and then West Alabama. If you don't know who I'm talking about none other than a cheetah, Tyreek Hill. He got drafted back in 2016 in the 5th round as really a special teams type player. But that was 7 years ago, and look, the rest is history. So this past season, he had 1,717 yards, which led the NFL in receiving yards, then 119 receptions, which tied for second, and then he had 13 touchdowns, this season, which also tied for first. Mind you, this man is 5'10". Receivers that this dominant is like, what, 6'3", 6'4", like Mike Evans, Julio Jones, or even Megatron type of height. But imagine a 5'10" receiver dominating the NFL like how Tyreek's been dominating. He literally made Tua MVP. Like, I don't know what Tua would be without him.
That's
but okay, hold on. All right.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish. All
right. But honestly, right now he is the best receiver in the league, and I believe when it's all said and done, he could actually be top 10 to ever play the game at the receiver position. But impactful, I mean, we all know how good he is on the field. But what he does off the field is pretty good. You know, he has a charity work, and it's called the Cheetah Scholarship Fund, where he do free football camps, and he do much more for at-risk youth down in Miami. And if you know Miami, really, I know it's all glitz and glamour, but if you really get down to the heart of Miami, it's pretty rough neighborhoods, say like Liberty City, Opelika, even Overtown. So him to go out and do charity work for them at-risk youth to help build them a better future, that's pretty great. And I also want to mention, I'm sorry, I had to throw this in here, Russell Westbrook, I love him pretty much. And then I also want to throw in here, Maddie, you thought I forgot. You said Kawhi Leonard and Paul George will not stay healthy, and I took the over on 46 minutes. I remember this. I'm sorry, I had to bring this up. But yeah, I remember that.
He hasn't mentioned it. He forgets he's not on bets anymore.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm glad you actually brought that up because not many people know about Tyreek's charity work like that. Like, they know only about his on-the-field stuff. They know about some off-the-field stuff, but I feel like nobody really knows much about that. But I do want to talk a little bit about his on-the-field stuff, and this question is for both of y'all. He obviously had nearly 1,800 yards, 13 touchdowns. He was pretty close to the MVP race, but obviously fell out of the top 3. Mm-hmm. Do y'all feel like if he got 2,000 yards this year, he should have been MVP?
Yes.
Yes.
I say that due to the fact that, honestly, I think this MVP this year is kind of weak. That's just me.
Agree.
That's weak. That's to me. I think it's weak. So him getting 2,000 yards and be the first player to ever do so, yes, I believe he would have got MVP. Yes.
How do you feel, Andrew?
And I agree strongly, but I think that the QB is just like such a the MVP is such a QB dominated award that either way he probably wasn't going to get it, even like throughout records and like whatever. Like even if he hit 2,000 yards, I don't think he would have gotten it, but I think he would have deserved it.
I think he would have gotten it.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have gotten it. 2,000 yards is a very big accolade, especially in a weak year for QBs. What were you going to say?
No, I was saying name one QB that really dominated this year, like really like separated himself from the pack.
Oh, no, I completely agree that I think he would have deserved it. I'm just saying that, like, because it's such a QB-dominated award that I don't think he would have won it just because, like, the voters probably would have just, like, went with the QB just to stick by the status quo. But I think he would have deserved it definitely if he would have had 2,000 yards.
Understood. I'm actually going to move on to your player, Andrew. Tell us a little bit about Noah Lyles.
Noah Lyles is a track and field athlete specializing in the 200 meters with his personal best being 19.31 seconds. And he's just one of the greatest athletes in the world. His personal best is number 3 all time behind Usain Bolt and Johan Blake, which are 2 of the best runners, obviously, all time. And he's also been able to make a smooth transition from the 200 meters, where he has been ranked number 1 for 202 weeks, to the 100 meters, where he's also been ranked number 1 for 23 weeks, which is absolutely insane. Being able to double in both is insanely it's unheard of and hasn't really been done since Usain Bolt. So being able to dominate in both the 100 and the 200 meters is insane. And since he turned pro in 2016, which is 8 years ago, he's only lost 2 races in the 200 meters, which is absolutely phenomenal. Definitely one of the best athletes, and I think he's impactful not only because of his antics on the track, where he's definitely a little bit crazy on the track, but I think he's also made comments off the track that have been extremely impactful. He on the track once before the Olympic qualifiers, which is the second biggest stage possible, the U.S. Olympic qualifiers. He wore a black glove on his fist, raised it before his introduction, and then his message in that was to be that Black Lives Matter. And he's just a huge advocate for it, and he's one of the biggest advocates for it, not only on the track but also off the track. So
I know that people know Noah Lyles for his off the track antics, maybe for something different. And I'm glad you're shining light on him for this instance. But I do want to, kind of backtrack a little bit. I'm not taking away from Noah Lyles, and I never will, because he is outstanding for what he is. He's obviously made a statement about NBA champions only being champions of the United States and received a lot of backlash for it. Do either of you feel like he's kind of standing on business in a way, being so dominant in his own sport and actually becoming champion of the world like he's supposed to be said?
I think the context of it just proves how justified his statement is, because he made that statement after the World Championships where he won 3 gold medals, which hasn't happened since Usain Bolt. He won the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 4x1, which is essentially unheard of before Usain Bolt and hasn't been heard of since Usain Bolt. So the fact that he was able to win at the World Championships and not at a domestic league level, I think he's more than justified in saying it. Although I do think the NBA is the best league in the world, I think that he is justified in saying it just based on who he is. He's literally a world champion.
I agree. Phil?
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I understand where he's coming from saying that, they can't say they're world champions, but the NBA is literally the best basketball league that's in the world. So it's kind of hard to say, well, let's be honest. If you take our best NBA players from the league and go against, other leagues, we most likely going to dominate. So I get where he's coming from, but I just don't agree with it.
I see. We're going to move on to the final player. Is going to be my player. I'm going to be going to soccer with this. I'm going to talk about Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr. is a left wing for Real Madrid. He's currently having a really good season. He has 8 goals and 4 assists across Champions League and La Liga games this season. He's got 90 progressive carries, 43 progressive passes. He's got 6 XG, which is basically expected goals. So he's overplaying his actual, how they limit him, how they expect him to have done this season so far. And I want to talk about not only that, because he was also Ballon d'Or nominated for this past year, but his off-the-field stuff basically was pretty much on-the-field stuff as well. I mean, if we look back at it, he's dealt with a lot of racial discrimination from Spanish fans in La Liga, and he's made a really big stand on it. It's happened to him multiple games this season. I wanted to give him a lot of credit for what he's done and how he's put his voice out there and how he's went to FIFA and La Liga representatives and told them, hey, this is something we really, really need to fix. And I can do nothing but just give him much more credit than he deserves. This is easily one of the best, one of the best players and also best stands. And that leads me into my question for y'all too. I'm not sure if either of y'all soccer knowledge, but like I said, he's a very big talent, already Ballon d'Or nominated. Have we seen somebody perform at such a high level while also making such a change in sports like this?
I'm going to say no. I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but I heard about him and, the things he's doing off the soccer field, going through racial discrimination and predominantly, black, it's pretty tough. So I would just say, keep doing what you're doing and just keep moving forward.
Andrew, anything short?
I tend to agree with that, especially in the soccer realm. I don't think you see that many people standing up for racial discrimination. So I think that him being Ballon d'Or nominated and also doing what he's doing at the biggest stage possible, I think that's great, and I think that he's super impactful for that.
Great. Put that very well, both of you. But that is unfortunately all the time we have for this segment. Again, thank you both for coming on. Y'all did absolutely fantastic. Stay tuned for segment 3, where we're going to bring in some very special guests.
Hello, my name is Tyler Brownrigg. I hope you're enjoying watching whatever show it is that's playing right now here on Hitting the Field Network. And if you're interested in more of our shows or want to know more about the one you're currently watching, don't worry, I'm here to tell you. Our week starts off on Mondays with HTF Bets, hosted by the Bets Boys, Andrew Montana, Ezrah Hine, and Giovanni St. Cyrin. You can catch that show live Mondays at noon for all things betting in sports. I highly recommend it. And then you can follow it off on Tuesday with The Combine, hosted by the illustrious Ty Patton. If you're in for a more laid-back, kind of podcast-style show, a lot more casual, that is definitely the show for you. Maybe you'll catch some Ty Squared action with me on there. Wednesdays, every week, you'll be able to catch the vlog, learn about what's going on behind the scenes here in the studio at Hitting the Field, get to know more about us, especially the people behind the camera, who they are, and what we do to make these shows every week. And on Thursdays, live at noon, you can watch the main show with me as your host every Thursday, where we'll be covering all of the major storylines for any sport, be it football, basketball, hockey, soccer, you name it, we'll be talking about it on the main show. And then Friday, you can watch Nighttime with your hosts, Maddie Glass and Patrick Previty, for all things college sports, especially with a focus on UCF sports and maybe the ones you have, tennis or women's track and field. It can be anything college on Nighttime. And if you're interested in joining Hitting the Field and you're a UCF student, DM us on any of our social medias at Hitting the Field, and also give us a follow on all those, and subscribe to this channel if you want to catch more of our content. But enjoy the rest of your show. As always, I'm Tyler Brownrigg, and I'll be seeing you on Main Show.
Welcome back. As you can see, I have a panel of very, very great people because they actually work with our NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists. Ladies, would you like to each introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Jay McCoy. I'm the social media coordinator for the National Association of Black Journalists.
Hi, guys. I'm Brianna Howard, and I am a member of the National Association of Black Journalists.
And I'm Jenna. I am also a member of the NABJ.
Beautiful, beautiful. I am so happy that I was able to get y'all on to be able to talk with us. And specifically speaking for this, because we're going to be talking about some of the most influential moments of the past 5 years. And I told y'all didn't have to pick sports, but sure enough, y'all all pick sports. And I can do nothing but respect y'all so much for that. I know sports isn't exactly like your top #1 thing you directly want to go to. And that's why I wanted to give y'all praise for that. But we're going to get started. I'm going to be taking a back seat for this segment. I'm going to let them do their thing. So, Jade, do you want to start?
Of course. So I just want to touch base on Simone Biles, one of the greatest Olympians of all time. She has over 30 medals, 7 of them being gold medals. And Simone Biles, her whole history of being a gymnast has been remarkable. Everyone who's led up to her success right now has set the platform, but she's exceeded that. And she set so many new expectations for the girls that are doing gymnastics now.
1000%. Like we've known about her for years and years and years now. Like she's been putting on. And I have a question for all of you, actually. We know Simone Biles is the most decorated gymnast of all time, obviously. But do we also think she's the best Olympian of all time? Not just Black Olympian, not just female Olympian, best Olympian ever. Because I think she makes a very good case for it. What do y'all think?
I think she's definitely the most resilient. We all know that Simone Biles has been through it, but she always comes back and bounces back the best as she can be.
1000%.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on what she said. I feel like she's went through a lot of trials, and she's always came back and has done better than she's done in the past. So she's always like up there. So yeah.
Any final words, Jade?
I don't know. I may take a different point of view because I do think she's one of the best Olympians of all time, probably making her the best Olympian. Not in the case of how many medals she has, but her performance. The Biles trick that she has, doing a double layout and then finish that off with a step out, a full out, the amount of athleticism it takes to do that, people don't take into account the training it takes, the mental power it takes. So I do think she's one of the greatest Olympians.
Being a gymnast is easily one of the toughest sports in the game. Like the core strength you need, the leg strength, like just all around body strength is insane. And to be the best at that, you have to be one of the best athletes of all time, in my opinion. And we're gonna move on to another fantastic athlete, Brianna. Do you want to tell us a little bit about her?
Yes, so today I'm going to be talking about Sha'Carri Richardson. She's a 23-year-old American track star. And she runs in the 100 and 200 meters, and she got her fame from running at the Louisiana State University. So she won the 2023 championships in the 100 meter, and I feel like I'm not going to say one of the best track stars, but is up there. She did take a break when she tested positive for having marijuana in her system, but then she came back, she overcame that, and she continued to do great and still win and still overcome everything that she missed out on. She took that time out to practice, to get herself together, to focus, and I feel like she's up there.
I actually wanted to piggyback off of that because we obviously know of her suspension because of her positive test, her unfortunate passing of her mother during that time, which she said led to that type of stuff. Missing out on the Olympics, losing her first race back from suspension by a pretty wide margin. Do y'all think this means a lot more, considering how much she's actually been through, and to make it back to the highest level, climbing, almost from rock bottom? What do y'all think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it does mean a lot because for everyone to be watching you in the world and then to make an opinion about you and you still having to overcome that and set that record for yourself, it's definitely something we have to give her credit for.
For sure.
And I think she is also a role model to a lot of little kids. She's a public figure. A lot of little kids watch her on TikTok, watch when she runs. A lot of little kid track stars. So I feel like she's looking at a lot of people are watching her, and she still wants to overcome that and still do great because she knows that there's a lot of eyes on her.
1000%. And we're going to move to Jenna. Jenna, you were talking about a very big happening. Surprisingly, one of actually the first time this has ever happened. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm actually so surprised that this is the first time, but I want to talk about last year's 2023 Super Bowl. Not only did we get an amazing performance by Miss Rihanna herself, but we also got to see two star quarterbacks, African-American quarterbacks, go head-to-head for the first time, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs and the Eagles. We got to see two quarterbacks that set such a good standard for African Americans in the league and everywhere. I mean, I'm just thinking, like, as a kid out there watching this for the first time, it's kind of inspiring and it gives you hope for the future that maybe one day you can be great too, like these two quarterbacks.
No, 1,000%. And I wanted to piggyback off, like, how we both talked about, you know, this is very surprising. We've known many great black quarterbacks in history: Randall Cunningham, Warren Moon, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, Michael Vick. How surprising actually is it that it's that 2023 of all years, like very, very deep in the future since they've started being in the league? How surprising is it that this is the first time ever that they've matched up in the Super Bowl?
I think it's very surprising, I'm not going to lie, because there's not a lot of, I'm not going to say not a lot of black quarterbacks, but not a lot of teams that with black quarterbacks make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think it's very surprising that these two quarterbacks happen to make it to the Super Bowl together. So I think that's really cool.
1,000%, 1,000%.
I don't think you're wrong in saying that there aren't that many quarterbacks that are black, because there aren't. A lot of times they're either pushed to do a different position, or they're just not confident, or they don't see them building their star fame from being a quarterback. So I think this is a big step, or just a big milestone in history.
I think the NFL has had very big moments like this very recently as well. Obviously, the head coaching thing or the coaching interview, because you have to now interview a coach of color now, if y'all didn't know, because they're making sure they set boundaries for this type of stuff, because they don't want anybody to be exiled after many different incidents. We don't have to discuss it too much, but obviously the Colin Kaepernick incident, I still feel for him to this day. And we're actually looking over, like, because this next coming year is going to be the first year where we have 9 black head coaches, which is a milestone in history now as well. And I think that as the NFL as a whole is finally starting to come around to be able to, you know, support people of our color, people that are, like, you know, being discriminated against a lot in this league, especially by some of the owners. And I'm not going to say their names because they don't deserve to have their names brought up. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. I wanted to thank you guys very, very much for coming out, because I know how much time y'all don't have. Y'all are very hardworking. I appreciate you for fitting us into your schedule. And I also wanted to give a big shout out to my other guests, Andrew, Giovanni, Jeremy, and Phil, for coming on as well. And then one final shout out to Maddie Glass, to Giovanni St. Cyrin, to Justice Covert, Andrew Montana, Mason Myers, Tyler Brownrigg, and everybody else that has helped in production for the show today. All of your help has been making this show run very smoothly, and it went so well. Lord knows I needed this help, and I could not have done it without any of y'all. We will see y'all again in the future with plenty more great sports content. But until then, this is Ezrah Hine and Hitting the Field Black History Month, signing off.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats.